with Rob Ryan of Roaring Lion Ranch, LLC. Huh? What is the Roaring Lion Ranch?
It's actually a ranch in western Montana, and I raise entrepreneurs.
You raise entrepreneurs?
I raise entrepreneurs.
No kidding.
I have an organization called Entrepreneur America that we run out of the ranch, and I've been doing that for 17 years now. And I've joined forces with a group here called Hero Partners, and we're trying to establish hero companies. We call them hero companies all throughout the United States. Hero companies are companies that can transform their environment. They become an engine of entrepreneurship because they're so successful. So we have companies in the Bakken fields. Mm-hmm. We have companies in Rockton, Illinois. We have companies in Beloit, Wisconsin. We have companies all over the place. We're very selective in the companies that we work with. But then we go in and we try to accelerate their growth, dramatically accelerate their growth. So the dream I have is to impact the United States through entrepreneurship, to have millions of entrepreneurs spread out through the United States, but not in areas that already have entrepreneurs like Silicon Valley and Boston. Those already have engines of entrepreneurship. I'm looking to do it through the rest of the country. Mm-hmm. The dream is to do it in the Buffaloes, the Rockton, Illinois, the Detroits, the places that would be good to have them.
Sure. Grassroots entrepreneurship.
Grassroots entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And I work with mostly entrepreneurs that don't have fancy degrees and fancy diplomas, but have a work ethic, and they know how to build businesses, and they're off, doing that, and we help them.
What would you say your background is primarily?
My background educationally is math and physics, so science background. But then I became an entrepreneur, and I've grown several multi-billion-dollar companies from scratch. So I've developed a process on how to grow a company from scratch to billions of dollars, and I've done it several times, 4 times. So it's not, you could call the first one perhaps accident, but it's hard to call all of them, accidents.
That's interesting, your background, science and math. I think right away, linear thinker, okay? Somebody who's good with organization, somebody who's good at that. But you need sales somehow, and that takes an abstract-minded person. Do you possess both, or do you just surround yourself with the complement?
No, I possess both.
Okay, because they are out there.
Yeah, I absolutely possess both. I think people would tell you that I'm an incredibly creative person and sort of model things across many dimensions, but I'm also capable of going into relationship selling and marketing and sales in that fashion. And that's sort of left brain, right brain, two skills that are unified. I think to be a great entrepreneur, you have to have that ability.
I agree.
You have to be able to model things, and then at the same time do the relationships, at the same time. I do have that. I look for that in my entrepreneurs as well.
Where does family play into the entrepreneur game?
Family, my wife and I have been married for 45 years. We got married in school, as undergraduates in school, and she's been with me through everything. She's sort of the half that keeps me out of trouble. She's a lawyer, and she keeps me out of trouble. I in 45 years, I've never actually read a legal agreement, as David would actually tell you. And I always tell people, if Terry's name isn't on it, then forget about giving it to me, because there's no way I'm going to read it or even sign it in a million years.
I didn't realize she literally kept you out of trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've stayed remarkably free from trouble because she reads everything and understands everything. So we're a team. And my entrepreneurs become like children. I become Uncle Rod to their children. I've got entrepreneurs all over the country. So it's been a real passion. What are some key indicators for entrepreneurs to look for in today's economy? The things that I look for in today's economy or yesterday's economy or the future economies is kind of two kinds of categories of things. One is sort of a category of hero leadership kind of characteristics that I look for in people. And the other is we have a process which starts with understanding what you're good at. We call them core competencies. And I don't fixate on what your idea or product is, okay? I fixate on what are you good at? What are the core competencies that you have that are unique or your team has? So I compete through competencies rather than compete through product, because once I understand your competencies, then I can dream up with you. In fact, I'll probably dream it up better than you. 1 million products that we could do, which become the petals on the sunflower. The center of the sunflower are your competencies. The petals are all the ways you could leverage those core competencies. And frequently what happens with the entrepreneur is they've picked one of the petals, but it's generally the worst possible thing they could have done. When I start analyzing it for them, they realize that we can lower the risk of the probability of failure for them by actually analyzing things through by the ground up, what I call the irreducibles. What is it you're good at? What is it that you're really unique at? Very differentiated at. Once I understand that, then I can build a whole host of ways to leverage it. And I help them learn how to do that as well. And that, by the way, is independent of today's environment. I can do that with you if you were a media company. I could do that with you if you were a high-tech software company. I could do that with you if you're an environmental services company. I would sit down and I would start drilling down and asking you a ton of questions. Not about your product. I actually would spend only about 2 minutes on your product, but just having you tell me what you believe is so unique about your skills and what you embedded into your product. So I kind of peel the onion, if you will.